G'day everyone, welcome to another episode of the Purple Coloured Glasses. In this episode, I'll go through my tips for round 21 and how I think Freo will go against the Doggies on Saturday. So first up, we've got Melbourne against Collingwood. And I bet the Pies fans are tuning in to listen to me tip against Collingwood again. I started my week out actually tipping the Pies in this one. I was thinking, get on a hot streak while it's going hot. But I feel like the bubble's really going to burst this week. I've said that every episode. You can probably just play that back on repeat. Jeremy Howe looks like he's carrying a bit of a niggle. Adams is out until the finals. Melbourne looked like they were back to their ruthless best against Freo last week. It's a bit of a similar form line, I think, to last year, where they sort of had a good streak at the start, bit of a bumpy period, and now they're hitting their straps. But I'll feel really silly if Collingwood get up again. I've had my opportunities. And Collingwood have a good record against Melbourne. They seem to just like beating the Dees whenever they can. But I'll be tipping Melbourne. Sorry, Pies fans. I'm going to be very, very silly if they lose. If they get up and they win, the Pies. But yeah, surely the bubble's going to burst. Can't be 11 in a row. If you win this one, I may as well just put money on the Pies to win the flag from here. Like, nothing can stop them. It's like a divine nature. 1 in a million type of season if they just go on from here and win the whole thing. But you never know. Teams keep writing them off and they keep winning. That's all you can really do. Looks like for the Dees, there's no real major changes. It's just Ben Brown in for Wiedemann. And Collingwood do get back Magic. So that will help them a little bit up forward. But Lever and May look back to their best last week. I think Petty and Melksham played really good supporting roles as well that probably can't be understated. Hawthorn against Gold Coast. Hard game to tip this one. I'll be going the venue tip of Hawthorn. They weren't great last week against the Saints. Gold Coast got off to a really good start and then let West Coast reel them back in. Hawthorn have some significant outs with Jath and Lewis out. Morris not as big of a deal, and Blank's out as well. They do get Impey back, Granger, Barras, and the other Sarong brother. Or the other Sarong, I should say. But and for Gold Coast, they get Ellis, Davies back, out for Atkins, Markov, and yeah. So yeah, I'll be going the Hawks on this one, just off the Tassie venue. Just going from that warm, humid environment up in the Gold Coast. They've never won at this ground. I think the finals are out of reach for them now with 3 games left. So I think it'll be a bit of a queue on the rack. And they're looking like they're getting a bit tired as well. So I'll be going the Hawks on this one. Next up, we've got Giants against Bombers. And I started out tipping the Giants this week. And I'm going to swap it, just like the Pies Melbourne game. I'm actually going to go the Bombers. And the reason I'm going to go the Bombers is because I started out thinking, this... picking of players and giving them a bit of a spray, that'll fire them up. But it was only a couple of weeks ago they got a bit of a spray and no real response. So Essendon doing the normal thing, making them look a lot better than what they are, getting the hopes up for the fans, playing really well in games that don't matter anymore. And I think they're just going to carry that on. I am a little bit anxious with that bounce back factor and the fact that Essendon have a pretty bad record against... the Giants in recent times and at Giants Stadium. But the Giants haven't really rocked up all year. So I'm just going to have to tip form and I'll be going the Bombers in this one. Marvel Stadium. Doggies against Freo. So the Doggies, they've got Keith Treloar and Darcy, Sam Darcy? Yeah. In for his debut. Those are fairly significant ins. Sounds like Keith was just managed last week, I thought I heard. And then Freo, we've got Tucker and O'Driscoll in for Henry and Collier. And Banners as the Medi sub. So it sounds like Banners will be the sub again. What do I think about Freo's changes? So Tucker has been destroying the waffle. He's just like too good for that level, really. He's the one that has been absolutely banging down the door to get selected. I think 30 touches and 2 goals, and then 28 touches and 3 goals, and he had a pretty good game before that as well. He's been stringing them together. In terms of like Collier and Henry, they're playing like the wing half forward position, so I'm not sure if Tucker's going to go in there or have an extra rotation with the mids. I think he adds a bit more body size and just a fresher player, I think, to come in, which is a good thing you got to consider. I think that's the same reason they brought O'Driscoll in. I think Henry's been better when he's been in the team. I still think he lacks a bit of that four-quarter effort. He still goes missing in quarters here and there. But when he gets around the ball, he's sticking tackles on blokes and they're not breaking free, which I thought was a big knock against his game previously. So he has definitely improved. And I still think he's got a lot of upside. So I don't think this is a bad moment for Henry. Just keep developing, really force your way into the squad. O'Driscoll hasn't exactly been tearing it up in the waffle. But wing can be one of those positions a bit more challenging to showcase your stuff when other blokes can't hit you, and getting involved in link-up play. I think he's just a more consistent four-quarter runner than Henry, and he's also a bit of a bigger body. So we've probably gone a bit more of the attribute piece, and he's still decently paced. And Henry Collier as well, so he's not really got near it in the last couple of weeks, and for someone who's supposedly one of the most skilled players on our list, can't hit a target. And I think it's almost curtains for him. He's getting on a bit. He was pretty much locked in the best 22, where I probably would have had him there on paper, and there's probably been some injuries to some blokes that have just kept him in, like Fife and Switkowski, and then Freddie got suspended, and like everything sort of just fell the right way, so he was staying in the team, and I don't really see him in our best 22, but he was quite good earlier in the year, but his form's just really tapered off. But he hasn't been the only one, but he's been really, really bad. So I think these changes make sense. I think one good game from Sturt probably wasn't enough to break in. I think they were always going to go with Taberner just to maintain that tall structure setup. There's been a lot of talk this week about, being more daring with the ball, going forward, going quickly, all this sort of stuff. Really good if we actually do that, we can put the Dogs under a lot of pressure. Their backline's not that much chop. They've leaked a lot of goals this year, and they're not really good at defending transition. However, their form's been a bit patchy. It's been like win-lose most of the year. They lost last week. Probably due to bounce back this week. Bont's potentially playing a little bit injured. But their other mids are, still there. You've still got McRae. You've still got Liberatore, Smith, and now Treloar's back in the team. So their engine room's quite good and can do some damage to us. If they can just get us on the spread, get the ball in quickly, they've got the forwards that can hurt us. Norton, Jamari Ugle-Hagan, and Darcy. Darcy will be on debut, and if he's it'll be interesting what the matchups they'll go with that. I think they'll go Pierce on Darcy if he's the tall, because I think he's 202 centimetres. And they'll probably play Cox on Norton, and someone like Luke Ryan on Jamari Ugle-Hagan, or Chapman maybe. It'll be interesting to see how they actually match up on that one. I don't think they're going to swing back Griffin Logue. It's a thing they can do during the game if they're really getting on top of us. And unless they've got like some awesome games coming out of their smalls and their midfields rolling up forward, I think we can get the ball and transition it. And our guys just need to take the game on. We can get the Doggies sort of going the other way. So if we can mitigate their scoring, just try to hit them going the other way. And in stoppages as well, I think Darcy can get the hold of Tim English. Tim English isn't like some of these guys that can jump over Darcy like Jackson did for periods of last week. He's probably going to go a bit more toe-to-toe with Darcy and try to get him around the ground, like in link-up play, and try sort of beat him with his tank. So yeah, I'm pretty anxious for this one actually. Sort of been umming and ahhing, and I'm going to go the happiness insurance tip. I think on this one, I'm going to tip the Doggies. The record's pretty good at Marvel. I mean, we've only lost one game at Marvel all year as well. Our record's pretty good at Marvel. But yeah, I'll just be going the Doggies. It does have a bit of a vibe of the Geelong and Melbourne games where we're sort of written off, not playing amazing, or most people don't give us a chance. And who knows? Maybe we'll flick the switch and we'll start playing well again. Because I think our best can account for the Dogs the way they're playing this year. They haven't really got it all together. The thing is, when they have played well in patches, they've been quite damaging. And the way we're going at the moment, they just need to have a good quarter or two and put us to the sword a bit, and we'll chip back at it and make it an honourable margin. But it's very hard to tip us with our form line at the moment. GMHBA Stadium. We go Geelong against St Kilda. Geelong, Stanley, and Selwood's out. He's managed Rowan's concussion. Selwood's, had a big night on the town after his 350th. And St Kilda, they get Howard in. Geelong. It's just like the Geelong game at GMHBA. You always tip Geelong. Saints. Can I make a case for the Saints? Not really. I was thinking about it today, though. I could actually see St Kilda winning this game, getting everyone's hopes up that they could play finals, and then drop the last two and miss out. Because I think they play... Who do they play? They play Brisbane and Melbourne, I think, in the next two. No, Brisbane and Sydney in the next two. So yeah, they'd be up and about a bit, and it'd be funny then to drop the next two. And it'd be a very St Kilda thing to do, because people would then pick them against the Lions probably next week. But no, I'll be going the Cats. Go on the nice safe tip. They make it 11 in a row. They start to look scarier and scarier as we come into the finals. Then we have Port Adelaide against Richmond. Hard one. So Port get in Houston and Teakle. Teagle's the mid-season pickup they got from East Fremantle, I think. Yeah. Jones out, Marshall out, health and safety, and Georgiades. So Georgiades is admitted. Who are their forwards? And Richmond, Gibcus is in for Grimes. So it must be going like Finlayson in the ruck. Teakle's no, they got Teakle in the ruck, so they must be going Finlayson up forward with Dixon. Houston in down back. It's an interesting one. Finlayson in the ruck's been going relatively well, I thought. Richmond. I think I'll be tipping the Tigers. Port, been so close. So many weeks in a row. And I think this season's done. Like, they've won one out of their last five, and I've tipped them, I think, 4 out of those games. And yeah, they should win at Adelaide Oval, I think, against Tigers with a few out. Like, Grimes is a big out. But I don't know. I think the Tigers are just going to click into gear. It's a very hard one to pick, but yeah, I'll be going the Tigers, I think. And then Marvel Stadium, Sunday games. I'm not sure how much I need to talk about this first one. It's North Melbourne against Sydney. Having said that, North Melbourne came very close to beating Sydney earlier in the year. For Sydney, I think they just get the job done on this one. I don't think I need to talk too much about it. I think they'll sort of remember how close North ran them last time they played. That'll be at the forefront of the minds. Longmire will rile them up and say, hey, remember you might have gone a bit easy last time you played these mob because they were bottom of the ladder. They almost beat you, so no mercy today. And I think that's exactly what Sydney will do. Okay, and then another tricky game. There's a few tricky games in this round. Brisbane against Carlton. Do I tip Brisbane? Do I tip Carlton? So Brisbane get Rich, Starcevic, Lohman and Primac. Rich and Starcevic are good ins. Bailey being out due to his kidney injury is not great. Though it doesn't say he's an out, so maybe he's named. It is Sunday, so it's extended squads. Carlton, Marchbank, Martin, Fogarty, Dow, Kemp, News. Yeah, that's the extended bench. But Kennedy's out because you've got a concussion, Newman with a knee, and Plow. Oh, Plowman's not a big loss. And Silvani was the sub. So, so he's still in. It's an interesting one. There's a lot of talk about Carlton just going 0-3, missing the finals, or that game against Collingwood, last game of the year, is going to be the game to decide. But Brisbane are a bit vulnerable at the moment. They seem not very sure of themselves. They put up a really good performance for a half, and then thought that was the end of the game. Unfortunately, it goes a bit longer, boys. But I'll be going Brisbane in this one. Their Gabba record's just too good to go past. Carlton are a bit banged up, I think, feeling the effects of a long season. I thought I saw a stat today that said they hadn't played Brisbane or Melbourne in 34 weeks, which is pretty astounding. A bit of flat track bullies, betting up on the other team. But no, it'll be good to see them, how they go against Brisbane. I think they can get a hold of them in terms of they've got the weapons to do some damage to them. But I don't think they will. I think Brisbane will get it done. And the final game of the round, West Coast against Adelaide. Adelaide are just minorly favourites, but most people are tipping West Coast 70%. And that's the way I've gone. I think West Coast get it done for JK. I think a lot of Eagles fans rock up to see the champ play his last game. Thanks for retiring this week, JK, not in the Derby. Appreciate that. He has been a legendary player. I heard a few people talking about both him and Mundy's retirement. It's probably the one player from each side that the opposition fans, you tip your hat and go, well played. You've had a good career. Good bloke. Never sort of involved in off-field drama. Always been a good role model. Just good, honest guy. Great footballer. Can't really mock him for that. Despite the rivalry between West Coast and Freo, and I think a lot of West Coast fans would say the same thing about Dave Mundy. So, I'll be going West Coast in this one. I think Adelaide, if this was played in Adelaide or it was played in any other time in Perth where JK hadn't announced his retirement, I'd be going Adelaide. But no, I'll be going West Coast in this one. In terms of their ins, Kennedy, Langdon, Petreski, Satan, Bazzo, Nelson, Clark, but that's an extended bench. Petrocelli and Cully, I should say, are outs for them. West is out as well. Cully just adding a bit of grunt around their midfield, I think. Good tackling, physical pressure, but a bit of a silly suspension. And just an extended bench for Adelaide at the moment, no outs. Anyway, those are my tips. Let me know what you think the upset of the round's going to be. Could be quite a few. I've been not great in these rounds. I've been trying to tip upsets and catch up and stuff and get further behind. So I've tried to be a bit safer with my tips and see how we go this week. And I'll catch you all next week to review the round. Catch you all later. Bye.